Jesus Noguera. Sein Gegner kommt aus den Niederlanden. Am letzten Wochenende in Sindelfingen hat er sich vorgespielt bis ins Viertelfinale des European Darts Grand Prix. Wir begrüßen in der Sachsen Arena Mike Kuivenhoven.
Final game of the night then, we've got one more spot in round two, and it's going to go to either the Spaniard Jesus Noguera or the Dutchman Mike Kuivenhoven. Noguera, by the way, I mean, what a look to camera that was on the walk-on. That was Joe Cullen-esque. This boy knows how to work a camera, but Mike Kuivenhoven knows how to win games of darts, and he's been doing it more this year than he did last year in his first year on the tour. And in fact, we saw him last weekend have a nice little run to the final day of the European Tour event in Hildesheim. In fact, he made it all the way to the quarter-finals with victories over Daryl Gurney and Glenn Durrant, as well as John Worsley. So he comes here, you would think, full of confidence. The weird thing about Mike Kuivenhoven, you would only really say one of those performances was a really good one, and even that one, it was the Daryl Gurney game, where he averaged 96. Even that, 6 legs into it, was pretty ploddy, average stuff. It just sort of burst into life in the second half of the game. The rest of the time, he was averaging around the 90 mark. But he does have this knack of hitting the right things at the right moments, as one of his compatriots would no doubt tell him to do if he was giving him advice to win games. Jesus Noguera, though, is a guy who's certainly got talent. We've seen him produce on the Challenge Tour. We've seen him produce on the Pro Tour in the limited time that we've seen him playing PDC darts. Chris Murphy has joined me in the commentary box for the final game of the night.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. First leg, Mike to throw first. Game on.
And Russ Bray gets us underway with those unmistakable tones. And you mentioned a certain compatriot of Kuivenhoven who would tell him how to hit the right things at the right times, and he's been on the wrong end of Mike hitting the right things at the right times a couple of times. Van Gerwen beaten twice from 2 meetings by the 32-year-old.
100.
Noguera, a winner of a couple of Challenge Tour titles last year, and actually earned his tour card from the Challenge Tour Order of Merit.
93.
Which is an impressive feat nowadays, because that Challenge Tour, I keep saying it, it is a very, very good proving ground for talent. And we did see him play some cracking stuff when he was stepping up and filling in those Pro Tour events, didn't we, when he was still on the Challenge Tour?
Yeah, certainly did. I remember him in Dublin producing some pretty good stuff.
58.
Maybe not always getting the results that some of his performances merited.
Yeah, he did have a run to the last 16, though, in that weekend just before the World Grand Prix. And there's plenty of this.
140.
He did a European Tour debut for Jesus, one of the breed of Spanish stars. So one of them depart earlier today. Tony Alcinas losing out to Steve West.
$97. Make you require 111.
He's left himself well placed if Kuivenhoven can't take out this combo finish. Trouble 17.
55. Jesus require 24.
A very strong leg against the throw, leaving double 12 after 12. Now he wants 12 and he gets it.
First leg, Jesus Noguera. Second leg, Jesus to throw first. Game on.
We had a little chat about Spanish darts earlier on when Alcinas was playing, but you mentioned we haven't seen Cristo Reyes for a while. We are seeing a handful of Spanish players make an impact in the PDC over the last few years. For a long time, it just seemed to be Alcinas and Carlos Rodriguez.
43.
Carlos Rodriguez, a Pro Tour finalist in PDC darts. I mentioned that earlier on. It happened to be one of those tournaments where Michael Rosenauer had a good run to the latter stages. But we are talking more than a decade ago there. And it was Tony who was doing the business. He dropped away, and Cristo Reyes took up the baton and really did look like Cristo Reyes was going to win a PDC title at some point. He kept on making semi-finals.
Yeah, produced some fabulous stuff, and on big stages as well. Let's not forget that defeat at the World Championship, the hands of MVG, which at the time was the highest losing average.
Yeah, a record that stood for about 10 days.
100.
Not to forget Jose Justicia.
81.
Ironically, it's somebody based in Spain who's actually Portuguese who's gone to the next level and won PDC titles, including the most recent one last weekend, Jose de Sousa.
Yeah, true. So we've done Spain. Any good Dutch players?
A couple of them around, yeah. Yeah, I'll keep an eye on a few of them. There's pretty handy talents out that way.
119. Jesus require 147.
Can he clean up the 147? Well, there are the Reds.
$107.
Well, didn't take it out, but there will be a second coming of Jesus, so you can finish it off for a 2-0 lead.
84. Jesus require 40. Make you require 114.
I had a look at 111 in the first leg, didn't get a dart for it. And he's not going to get a dart for this either.
92.
And that's perhaps not smart board management there, because he's left himself double 11. It may not matter.
Game
It
shot,
doesn't, because Jesus goes 2-0 up.
Third leg, Mike to throw first. Game on.
It's only a little thing, but he had 99 left with 2 darts. If you go the 19s first, you hit the treble. That's fine. You can take your pick of what double you want to leave.
100.
But if you hit the single, you've got 80 left, so you can get a treble and leave yourself on a nice double, 10, say. But Kuivenhoven, because he went 20s first dart, leaves you either 79, which he did, or 39, and again 39 you can leave yourself on a nice double, but 79's tricky. Matters not anyway, because Jesus has gone 2-0 up, and he's looking the better player in the opening exchanges of this one, with the Diamond Ian White, the number 3 seed this weekend. Man who made the semi-finals last weekend. He still doesn't look back to his normal self, Ian, but there was certainly some good signs 93. Last weekend. An absolute barnstormer of a game with Jose de Sousa, which ultimately ended with defeat for the Diamond in the semis.
Well, this could be a significant match for Kuivenhoven. He is outside the top 64 in the world and in year 2 of his tour card.
However,
58.
He's going to be at the European Championship, so there's some extra cash.
That run last weekend, you have a run at one of these events, you're in it this year, because there are only 4 of them. But everything counts, and everything could be significant when the reckoning is done after the Ali Pali.
31.
Well, a couple of quarterfinals on the Pro Tour this year. That quarterfinal on the Euro Tour means he's going to be at the Players' Championship finals, he's going to be at the European Championship. Now, even if he didn't win a game at either, as I say, he's picked up quite a happy knack of winning games. Then that's all good ranking money. It just gives him a little bit of a cushion.
123. Make you require 170.
Jesus can take out 87. He will have
94.
more than a little bit of a cushion because it would be a double
87.
break and a 3-0 lead.
Run quickly, that one.
Game shot in the third leg.
But precise with that, and it is a 3-0 lead.
Fourth leg, Jesus to throw first.
A walk in the park so far.
Game on.
Can you tell me what Jesus's little pattern on his dart shirt is about, with a sort of open palm and a pyramid and an eye? It looks like some sort of Illuminati sign. I've got no idea what that is.
Yeah, it's optimistic asking me for an answer, Dan, and
well,
I'm going to be honest, and I haven't got one.
Okay.
85.
That's pretty solid stuff from Jesus. That first 9 average. I mean, it's not up there with the best displays you see, but that's up with what, say, the likes of Michael van Gerwen, Peter Wright do over the course of the year. That's their sort of standard level of performance.
97.
The overall average is dragged down a little bit by those 6 missed darts at double, but I mean, this is very, very solid stuff, and Mike Kuivenhoven has not even been allowed a dart at double, despite that second leg, which was completed in 20
60.
darts, and that's where the majority of those missed darts at double came.
$59.
They're just not happening for the Dutchman.
100.
Coming to the end of the opening round. Plenty of tasty ties set up for tomorrow. We'll run through some of those at the end of this leg.
$65. Jesus, you require 76.
Double top for another 15 darter.
36.
It doesn't really matter about missing that one. He knows there's going to be pressure when he comes back, but it's not as much pressure as there might have been because he's already 3-0 up.
125. Jesus, you require 40.
Double top.
Game shot on the fourth leg. Jesus, Noguera.
And 40.
Fifth leg.
Makes it
Mike
4-0.
to throw first. Game on.
Yeah, what's
very comfortable.
He really is, and we can pencil his name into the draw bracket for tomorrow in that meeting with Ian White. But have you managed to have a look through and see which
43.
games leap off the page for you?
Well, I'm intrigued about the Ratajski-Kleermaker repeat of last week because Kleermaker was fabulous against him. And Ratajski no doubt will want revenge. We know
60.
that Ratajski is quite capable of going on and winning this tournament. The obvious one would be Ross Smith, who's just thrown the second highest average ever seen in this tournament and was mind-blowingly good this afternoon against the man who is unbeaten at this event for the last 2 years, Gerwyn Price.
60.
I'll throw in Suljevic Clemens.
Yeah, that would be another one that I would have highlighted. But there are quite a
42.
few there. I'm certainly interested to see what the likes of Bunting and Adrian Lewis are playing, bearing in mind that they've had an enforced spell out.
Yeah, particularly tricky tie for Lewis against Danny Noppert. Bunting will face Andy
58.
Hamilton.
I've been very impressed with the Germans today. Marjanovic has got Joe Cullen. We know that he's capable of throwing big stuff. Max Hopp against Jose de Sousa looks very,
100.
very interesting.
Well, make sure you join us. Usual time, usual place.
100.
Kuivenhoven's just not getting anything going here, and even though Noguera's had 4 visits to the board and is still only down to 200, Kuivenhoven's got it all on just to leave a finish on his own throw here. And he hasn't managed it, and Jesus Noguera is going to become favourite to produce a whitewash victory to round off the first day of action here at the Saxon Arena.
$100.
Finds a treble just to put a little bit of pressure on this, but not sure pressure is something that Noguera will be feeling at this point.
That's a good guide for that 60, which is why he stayed there.
60. Make you require 80.
Well, again, he makes it hard for himself. But that looks inviting.
55.
Just maybe flicked off the flight.
40.
Doesn't look as inviting as this, does it?
Yeah, might as well book his flights.
Game shot in the 5th leg. Jesus Noguera.
Well,
6th leg. Jesus
5 zip. Noguera has the darts. Just for a change, it's Jesus doing the crucifying.
$100. $66.
Well, what a difference a week can make.
Yeah. Quarterfinals just, what, a matter of days ago. Mike Kuivenhoven. I said that, you know, there's only one real standout performance from him in that run last week, but his base level was high 80s, and this is a little way off that.
He hasn't had a single dart at a double on the outer ring in this match.
And that kind of artificially inflates the average, because there's only scoring visits that he's getting, scoring and setup visits. And Jesus Noguera is showing absolutely no mercy, neither should he, because he's potentially 3 darts away from a 6-0 whitewash on his Euro Tour debut and setting up a clash with the Diamond D and White.
Well, you mentioned the motif on the back of the shirt early on, Dan. Maybe it is some kind of hypnotic symbol that has just drained the life out of Mike.
97.
Well, match darts incoming, and he's got a couple of visits from 64. And the way this has gone, you're not expecting him to need, well,
requires 64.
More than 2 visits. Double 16.
32.
Well, he will get that second visit. And all of a sudden, Kuivenhoven joins the party. Curfew, Mike. The party's closed, mate.
I think it may be. 1 in, 1 out, and Jesus Noguera is in. Mike Kuivenhoven is out, and that concludes the first day of action here at the International Darts Open in Riesa. The number 3 seed Ian White will go up against that man there, the Spaniard Jesus Noguera, who has a perfect Euro Tour debut with a whitewash over Mike Kuivenhoven, a quarter-finalist just a few days ago. We've seen 5 Germans make it through. We saw a superb 112 average from Ross Smith, and it's Ross Smith who's charged with trying to stop the defending champion Gerwyn Price as the seeded players enter the fray. We'll see you tomorrow here on PDC TV, 1 PM local start, 12 PM in the UK, and different times in different places in the world, because that's how it works. Bye!
Ja, was soll man sagen? Wenn jemand in der letzten Partie des Abends ein 6-0 Whitewash einfährt, dann kann er sich auch das Interview mal sparen. Er hat gesagt, sein Englisch ist nicht sehr gut, sagt er. Er möchte gerne das Interview weglassen. Von daher entsprechen wir ihm da einfach mal. Obwohl ich gern gehört hätte, was er gesagt hätte. Ja? Oder? Jetzt mal unter uns, ja.